Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play podcast that meets every Tuesday. We were off last week due to an unexpected power outage, but we are back now. When we left off, the party had finished their overnight flight on Dragonback to reach the scale of Whittemere. They were dropped in a swampy village in the middle of Sudaran, in which they met a young wood elf named Ethendwyl, who questioned them as to their presence, and after finally getting some answers about that, explained that he was part of the Platinum Sentinels, set to guard the scales of the Children of Tiamat. He introduced them indirectly to the leader of the Platinum Sentinels here in Sudaran, a mysterious orc named Treznor, who went on for a while before the party explaining how he would continue his quest in the name of Shagrazir to prevent the rising of the White Dragon. The party brought the news of Raiken's brother, Tatsuya, coming to claim the scale, and Treznor assured them that he would not survive this fool's errand. When Raiken, trying to find the right word for it, dissented?
Insisted?
Disagreed? Asked that the killing of his brother be postponed. The leader of the Sentinels realized that this group was probably going to pose a problem for him and had them secured hereby. During that time, the group was able to get in a short rest. Yukikaze was able to don the armor of Bahamut and begin attuning it. And people had set about discussing that which they had witnessed and that which they suspected. This led to some very interesting discussions, which will continue as we start off. But first, I wrote a note that I am supposed to take Raiken to the closet, as I had forgotten to call on him last time, for which I am terribly sorry, and will now make up for it. So,
Or you do. So we got a short rest.
You got a short rest.
Okay, I didn't take that.
I want to get a real berserker quick look since he does that.
Would you? Okay. So yes, all of you have a short rest. You may spend hit dice to regain HP, and whatever short rest powers you have. Unfortunately, Sam, you've spent all of this short rest dealing with people thus far, so you haven't... I don't believe that you've finished...
I didn't have... How long into things did the conversation after the animal stuff happen, though? Because I think I only jumped in after that when... Right?
Right, but I'm counting all of the time spent talking to Treznor as a short rest, as part of this short rest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which, you know,
If
you
we
were in
haven't
there for a
had
couple
an
of
hour
hours.
in here, then I have not...
I think that you might have spent at this point 1 hour in here, but I believe that will include this talking. I mean, correct me if you disagree.
That seems fine. Do you remember what spells? Like, was it a third and a fourth?
I believe that it was... I thought that it was like a fourth, a second, and a first, but you get 7, so if you didn't write it down, figure it out while I'm talking to Raiken. It's...
Okay, one of them was definitely a third, so
Okay.
figure out from there.
Sure, like, it's your thing. You can, as long as it adds up to 7, it's whatever, and nothing that we've done so far is affected by what spells you're choosing, so just, if you don't remember what you were going to choose, just choose them now. Okay. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a third and a fourth because I had one unspent for each of those, so
Okay.
I will respend those.
Okay.
And unspend the...
Oh, you had already marked it?
Yeah. So that's I have not spent the arcane recovery now.
I think that it's close enough that it's fine. Like I was just trying to recall things. I'm not trying to take that away from you.
It's easy enough.
This wasn't some strategy. Okay, I'm gonna take Raiken now. If you're ready, Raiken.
Yes. Joseph put something in the chat though. It says turn up players and turn down music.
Talk to me, Raiken.
I was speaking. Could you
Yes,
not hear
no,
me?
I wanted to see your levels.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That should do it. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay. Alright, so, because I did not ask last time, what do you want to be doing during this first bit of short rest?
Raiken is going to go into one of the corners, and he is going to meditate and basically pray and call to Cord for guidance.
Okay. Has Raiken ever done this before in his life?
I thought that he did at one point during. And
after you recharged the armor, a Deva came down and spoke to you on behalf
at
of
least
Cord.
one.
I think you broke up really badly just now.
No, I was just trying to remember if there was another time that I thought he's meditated like this, but I'm not sure if I'm just remembering the dream sequence he had.
I mean, I am mostly asking in the more general sense of the backstory of your character. Is he a person who prays to Cord and expects some kind of response in general?
Maybe not necessarily like that he'd get a response, but just at least, I guess it brings him more peace, like if he prays and meditates towards Cord, like the path will kind of show itself to him over time of what he needs to do.
Okay, so it's unusual for him to take an active role in seeking out Cord's guidance.
Yes.
Okay. Just getting a feel on this. Alright.
Yeah, it's never, he's rarely ever direct, like, talk to me.
But this time, he is actively seeking that guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You sit and you think. You do this meditation, starting with, what you're used to from your training as a paladin, your training as a fighter, calming your mind and clearing it as best you can, and then focusing your thoughts toward the power of your oath, toward the power in your armor. You do, after a while, begin to feel the hum, the thrum, the flow of energy around you, representing the power of this god. And as you focus more deeply on this, you begin to feel the connection, the pathways this power follows through the armor and then out, connecting to the world itself in its obscure ways, finding threads, feeling the flow, threading into people, into objects, into the ground. You feel this humbling connection to the world. It's massive, it's strong, it's proud. You feel this strong sense of connection to the ideals of Cord as you do this, and you can feel the strength of these convictions encasing you, this armor, not just as a physical object, but as the epitome of the ideals, of the true nature of this god, strengthening you. And as you focus in this way, you do eventually hear a somewhat distracting beeping. And you open your eyes, you feel that your senses, the sense of your surroundings, are still hyper-focused on the energy of Cord, that the bustle of your comrades around you is still dulled or muted to you as you focus past it, and you become aware of the, what can only be described in modern terms as a cursor on the visor of your armor flashing, and you see, as it writes out in Celestial, "What do you desire?"
How am I going to word this? I desire Cord strength. I feel like I am unsure how to use the armor to its full potential.
And how do you wish to convey these feelings? Are you just thinking them very hard at the armor? Are you saying them out loud?
I think he'd be saying them in his head.
Okay. There is a, long pause as the cursor continues to flash at the end of the question, before it moves down a line and writes out, in Celestial, of course, "The armor is the power of Cord, and you possess it. Need now only serve him."
I thought that I was serving him, but the power that I had used before has not made any indication of recharging.
Know you, the god of thunder, lightning, and war. Power lies where these meet.
Thunder, lightning, and war. That's the god of Cord. Or Cord. He is the god of thunder, lightning, and war.
The cursor flashes, but nothing more types out.
Guess I'll have to think on it a little more.
A moment later, it moves down another line and says, "Seek thou, warrior, the power of Cord in the natural world."
Very well. Thank you for your guidance.
I serve Cord. I serve you.
Power be to Cord.
All power derives from Cord.
And Raiken will break his meditation then.
You break your meditation and look up and see the people around you talking, chattering. But even as you end your meditation, the stifled air of the room, this hyper-focus you had on the energy of Cord that muted everything else around you, does not lift. And you feel a warmth at your back.
I guess Raiken will look behind him to see if there's anything there.
As you look about, you once again see the flames over your shoulders that had been placed there by Zintharamil. Nobody else around you appears to notice, continuing their conversations.
I guess Raiken will, then he will say, Zintharamil, are you here?
You hear a quiet voice, as though attenuated by a great distance, almost a whisper carried on the wind. But you recognize the intensity of Zintharamil as he says, "Tell me of Leah."
She's doing well currently. Right now, there's nothing too much to report. At least, she hadn't done anything significant like last session did.
But she was zoned out and not really paying attention to the rather important goings-on around her.
So, I guess Raiken would say she did seem to be distant, not really paying too much attention lately. It's something I must look into. But at least health-wise, she is just fine.
You deal currently with one I once called friend, Treznor.
Yes, were you the guardian before that they turned against?
I was the guardian of the crossing near here. That crossing is gone by Treznor's hand. You
Yes.
must be very careful. He is not to be trusted in his current state. He would bring harm to all around him, including Leah.
I think we got that idea. He seems to only care to stop anything from going against his duty, which is supposedly guarding this white scale.
Takes that very seriously.
And I shall keep an eye on him. I'll make sure he doesn't pull any fast ones.
If you do not wish to be damaged by the way he has ruined himself, you should put distance between you and him and anyone you love.
What does that mean? Are you saying that we need to leave?
Should leave. Your job is to protect Leah. He is a danger.
Yes, my job is to protect Leah. However, it's going to be much harder to protect Leah if all of the chromatic dragons are brought back to life.
You are a knight of my court. With that title comes certain trust. I trust that you know how to keep the people you care about away from Treznor.
I know how to step in case he tries anything. You have my word that he will not do anything to her. But I cannot just leave, and I'm not going to be able to get the party to change and leave either.
I'm counting on you, knight. Do not fail me.
Failure isn't part of my vocabulary.
The warmth at your back fades, and slowly the sound of your compatriots talking comes back into focus. They seem to begin to notice that you are no longer meditating. They'll return to the other room.
Okay.
Did that cover everything you wanted to cover? Are you good?
Yeah. I got some thinking to do. With two different things. But, yeah. Yeah, that pretty much covers it.
Okay.
I'll come back.
I am back.
Did you get the message from Joseph
Yeah, what?
about turning down the music? He says about 5 times louder than it needs to be.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's saying he can't really hear anyone over the music.
That makes very little sense since I'm looking at the audio levels and it was nowhere near our speaking levels.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's fine to me.
In any event. So, last time, you guys had been discussing things, and
Jebel was talking to frogs.
Jebel was talking to animals, and through this talking to the animals, you learned some interesting things which you were able to confirm with Laramendus. So, Lara, if you could restate your opinions based on the information Jebel said he got from the rat.
So, Jebel had said that the rat told him that it was a floating skull with gems for eyes, I believe, right? And then Laramendus had said that I believe that is a demi-lich. I don't remember what we said. We had said
something about that the phylactery wasn't being fed.
Right. A lich who doesn't feed their phylactery for however long, I don't know, deteriorates a bit, losing some of their power and things of that nature, becoming a demi-lich. So, in this state, it is unlikely that he has fed his phylactery for at least a very long time. And I think that that mention about the demi-lich and what it meant was what got Leah to start saying something, and I don't think we actually got to hear what she was going to say. Yeah, I think the conversation ended with that.
Rejoin the conversation at that point.
Yes. Question is what I was gonna say, then I can't remember. It's 2 weeks ago.
You had been speaking with Lorelei.
Yes.
And she had told you what Zentharmil had been saying to her. With regard to Treznor.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You talking about a lich?
A demi-lich. So he was once a lich.
Who? Treznor?
Yes. I think, given the description that Jebel has given me, and conversations with Ash, mostly shortly after we had dealt with
Minuet.
I was like, God damn it! Minuet. That seems the most likely, and given his description of his experiences all those years ago, it seems to line up that way.
Well, Lorelei let me know that Zentharmil don't want to speak to Treznor because he changed, because he sold himself. If he's a demi-lich, I believe that's the reason why.
Treznor is not to be trusted.
Definitely not. He's no longer the person that was defended this place. The one that Zentharmil knew.
Does that corrupt their minds completely to where either they just stuck on their mission but not themselves? I don't know much about that kind of entity.
I mean, I imagine that it would take a great amount of drive to make the decision to become a lich, especially if your reasoning for it is to be able to continue the task that you were given long after your time would have allowed. Are you asking if his status as a demi-lich is what drives his focus on things?
No, more of his state of mind and being as this kind of creature and existing and doing what he's doing.
I mean, I would think that it was his state of mind that caused him to see this as an acceptable outcome. A magic user sufficiently powerful to become a lich probably understands the ramifications of not feeding the phylactery. So I imagine that he went into this knowing what would happen to him and decided it was a better course of action than passing away. Did Zentharmil know when this would have happened? And is it the lichdom that was the issue, or is it the demi-lichdom?
Does one of you want to answer?
I only ask because I would be surprised if he was close to Zentharmil before becoming a lich. If he, I mean, the mortal lifespan is not that long, and if he was here guarding things, he would only have been here for a short amount of time before he.
I'd place my bets on that he wasn't, based on Lorelei's reaction.
Laramendus is looking at Leah.
Yes?
Leah's been asked
Sorry.
several questions about Zentharmil.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of blacked out what it is.
Laramendus had asked if Zentharmil had any idea, if you had any idea of like the timeline of things, and if it was the lichdom that was the issue or the demi-lichdom that was the issue. And then had said that he was asking because it seems like there wouldn't have been a lot of time for him to become a lich while he knew Zentharmil, just because this happened so long ago. Like, he was alive so long ago that unless he was extending his life some other way and then decided that becoming a lich was the better solution to extend his life.
Well, Lorelei said that Zentharmil felt betrayed since Treznor became an abomination of life, and Zentharmil is a protector of life. It only makes sense for me that he would know these things if it happened before he went into the armor, but I don't know for sure.
I mean, he went into the armor somewhere around the time that the perpendicularity was destroyed, and these events with Treznor happened. Is it 1,000 years ago? Poisonous guy.
If he knew Chagrasir, that was 1,000 years ago.
1,000 years ago. Would have happened 1,000 years ago. So there would have been some amount of time that he could have been mortal and known Zintharmil, although this would have been when he was not at his current amount of power.
I don't know how close to the break in the perpendicularity it happened. Lorelai, would you know? Maybe feeling betrayed by what happened to Treznor left Centarmel open. That is how Zephyr got onto him in the first place.
Lorelai looks up around the room, seeing the questioning eyes, and she gets this, like, nervous pout, where she says, "My understanding of timelines is weak, best. But if he was immortal 1,000 years ago, then he would have had to have become an immortal very shortly thereafter, meaning that the lion's share of that span of time would have been spent as an immortal." He kind of looks around. Right?
Right.
I mean, was he an elf?
I don't know what it was. Do anyone know what it was?
I mean, you can make a guess. But, no, nobody's really, like, said he was this or that.
Yeah, it was more like an in-character question.
Guess not. Anybody?
I don't... Like, can I roll history? I don't remember in character. Like, I don't remember out of character, is what I meant to say.
I mean, none of you have known. There wouldn't be a history to check.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there was just something we'd forgotten or not.
No.
I mean...
everyone here has spoken Elvish, right? Like, spoken Elvish first?
Most of the people you've spoken with have spoken Elvish first. You were introduced to Treznor in common because the orc who was leading you realized that most of you didn't speak Elvish.
Mm-hmm.
Or enough of you that it would have been obnoxious.
Yeah.
So Treznor began in common.
The common accents that we heard from, I guess, anyone here who had not been speaking Elvish to us, or who had switched to common, did it sound with an Elvish accent, or
I mean, I would say that one could reasonably draw a connection between the way that the orc you met spoke and the way Treznor speaks, since they spoke one after another in common. Ethendwyl only spoke Elven to you.
Mm-hmm. And at least made it appear that he did not know common.
Yes.
Or he knew very little common.
Yes.
Yeah, he did like this small sentence to Leah.
So Larmandus was like, given that Elvish seems to be a first language here, I wouldn't be entirely surprised to find out that he was Elvish. if he gathered those that he knew and brought them here, which could have put his decision somewhere closer to the present.
Laramentis, you are aware that as a nation, Sudaran has a denser population of wood elves as compared to other races.
Okay, so it could just be...
That's what the locals spoke.
Yeah, like, if he settled down here and brought locals to him and then cut off at some point in the past, then they would still be speaking Elvish.
Yeah, there's at least reasonable doubt, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's it. It is possible that's the thing. It's also possible that he's some other race that he likely knew Elvish at the time, and then just settled down. I guess that would be a reason why he would be one of the ones that was sent here, because he spoke the native language, or not the native, he spoke the common tongue around here.
Indeed.
Did the name Treznor spark anything that I'm aware of from stories?
You are a folklorist. Would your interest in folklore have expanded to Sudaran or deep into Tuka or into Dorlos?
Sudaran likely not so much. It wasn't a place that he went to travel to when he did roam the world. And if he had a keen interest in it, then he probably would have gone there. Which one's Torlos?
The desert.
Oh yeah. I think he also spent very little time there. So probably not.
Would he have been looking for folklores describing the deeds of great heroes of the past?
I feel like that's a thing that he would have been interested in. But it's also possible that by the time he got to any of those kinds of stories, they had changed enough, because 1,000 years is a good long time.
It is. Well, I mean, kind of is.
That's true. 1,000 years being long is a difficult thing to.
It's two
say
generations
when
of
it's
elves.
2 generations of elf. It's like, it was 2,000 years ago. And it's like,
my grandfather
was
knew
around.
this person. So why don't you roll me a history check?
Okay. If I can find it, there's a d20. That is a 21. Rolled an 8.
No. Nothing comes to mind. But it sounds like a kind of orcish name.
That was going to be my next question.
Just from a cultural
does
perspective.
The name seem more, because he also said that he, or at least he had implied that he wasn't from here.
Indeed.
So I guess Lara Mendes will say, but the name sounds more orcish than elven to me, but a man as secretive as him might go by a pseudonym to throw things off. If it was known that if he was known by some name while traveling with Shagrazir, then settled here and kept the name, people might be able to tie him to that, which makes his job harder because people could be searching for him for things that he knew and things that he did here. So switching names isn't entirely unreasonable, but he could have also been confident enough in his abilities and his ability to fade into fade into history, which, as far as I'm aware, he did a decent enough job at, since I don't remember anything by a similar name to that. Do you, Yukikaze? I feel like you and your tribe would have had more stories closely aligned with the exploits of Shagrazir and his companions.
Quite a bit. Well, to what was remembered over the course of what was passed down by generations, which, as time passes, things always change a little bit. What am I exactly answering again?
If you've heard of Treznor.
Or a similar-ish name amongst Shagrazir's companions.
And give me a moment to think for a second. I would have to. I'd really have to think about it, but it wasn't something that stuck in my head growing up. Sorry, what was that?
Do you say it wasn't?
Wasn't, yeah.
Okay.
So
you believe that Yukikaze is not in tune with the stories of his people?
I want to say yes, but
You can say yes.
But I know even people in real life aren't always all knowing with everything.
This is more a question about your character, which you can answer any way that you feel is most correct for your character. Do you feel like your character would know the stories that his people handed down about this time?
Okay, easily, especially being that my tribe was more specific with the actual worship of Bahamut.
Okay.
Versus the other tribes.
Then I can give you some information if you'd like it.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll be right back. Alright, so Yukikaze does pay attention to the stories of his tribes.
Especially when my father was the head of that kind of stuff.
Indeed. And so you are aware of the stories of the great deeds of Shagrazir and the people that he fought alongside and against. Obviously you're aware of the battle against Shisharan. You are aware of how, after the battle against Shisharan, Shagrazir went on to found the island nation of Arcosia. You are aware through these stories that he did have compatriots, companions, a crew, if you will, that he alternately fought alongside throughout his adventures as the champion of Bahamut. And this was a diverse bunch that definitely included, orcs and elves and humans, tieflings. I want you to give me a history roll.
That's that. Okay. Let's see how the mood of the dice is today. Dice is in a bad mood, Tristan.
Okay. So what this will mean...
I got a 10.
Okay. So what this will mean is that the stories passed down by the tribe focused more on the deeds than the names. So they're remembered. These others are remembered as Shagrazir's companions, and the warriors alongside of whom he fought. They would be, you know, the great orc hero, the great tiefling warrior, the human, you know, elven wizard, but they aren't generally named because those names are less important than the deeds. How does that sound?
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, like, even me as an individual recalling everything in detail isn't always accurate, you know?
Mm-hmm. And so you would have stories of how, you know, even outside of protecting the tribes, that Shagrazir would do the will of Bahamut in other lands, working alongside these heroes. And often they would come back, you know, to Toralos with stories of their heroism. And that is how these other heroes became remembered alongside him. But they were more remembered as, you know, the Orcish war chief or something like that, a title.
Okay, so, alright, I believe I know how to respond. So, basically, the heroes were of many races. Alright, okay. I think I got it. Okay. My body's ready.
Okay.
Alright, so to answer your question, or so remember this, out of all the, with the stories that were passed down by our tribes, the names in particular for the champions, or the companions of the Lord, or Sir Shagrazir, were more remembered by their titles and deeds than anything else. But there were many many races among his companions. So like the Orcish chief, the accent on the or the brave elf, you know, like titles like that. I'm not recalling all of them at the moment. I apologize. But that's all I really remember at this time.
That's understandable. Honestly, his what he was in life is mostly a curiosity. It doesn't really enter into much beyond when he would have attained his lichdom. But
Everyone quiet.
You sort of went, and then went quiet.
oh, I mean, I said what he wanting to say. Like, but it's interesting, but ultimately not relevant to concerns now. Like,
Zendar had some interesting things to say last session that I haven't heard from him this time, in spite of a lot of people having opinions around
he's not
him.
here.
Where'd he
Did he
went?
drop?
When did that happen?
He
I don't
ended up in
know.
AFK, it seems.
Oh, he's in AFK. Yeah.
Figure out what's going on. Message. Okay, well, I was hoping to get his input on things, but I don't know where he's gone.
He's back in here now.
I moved him. Hoping that the sounds of our voices would draw him back.
Who?
Hello.
Me?
You were in the AFK channel.
Oh, is that what happens? I was like, why is there no talking?
If you let your computer idle while you're in a chat room for too long, it will move you down there.
Oh, sorry, that's stupid. I didn't even realize.
How long's he been there?
All by myself.
Not terribly long.
Okay, that's good at least. So, I was saying, I wanted, Vendar had some interesting opinions when he learned last week that, the week before, that Treznor might be a demi-lich and therefore, you know, became an immortal but hasn't been feeding souls to his phylactery if that's what happened, and a lot of people here have been saying Treznor is a bastard and don't trust him, so I thought maybe he'd have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't trust him.
Oh. Actually, not what I expected.
I mean, he didn't exactly. He hasn't done anything to warrant mistrust.
Except becoming a demi-lich.
That doesn't warrant mistrust.
Becoming the Lich.
If he hasn't fed his phylactery in all this time, he may well have done it simply to make sure he was around to oversee the Scale's protection. For all we know, he may have never fed his phylactery.
I feel that that's entirely reasonable that he had not fed it. The concern is more what
Becoming
atrocities must one commit to become a lich, and that I do not have an answer to.
Even outside of that, it's a pretty extreme.
Don't get me wrong, it's crazy and certainly warrants caution. But he hasn't lied to us, he hasn't particularly tried to hide it. I mean, from what we get, he's a floating suit of armor. That doesn't exactly scream, oh, I'm trying to deceive you. It's kind of blunt, honestly.
I mean, there's no need to deceive someone if your intent is to kill them.
Has he? He hasn't tried.
Have we tried to leave? We are locked in this house under guard, and
I just gesture to the open window. Oh no, it's locked.
He's been very threatening with all the death threats, you know.
I mean, what would he do if you tried to leave the village, given what you know?
He might try to kill us. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just saying that this might be jumping to things a little quickly.
Ma'am? May I remind you of something?
Sure.
When he spoke to you 2 weeks ago, he demanded you leave the village.
Oh, I did not remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he asked us to leave, but then he seemed to have like a change of heart at the end and didn't want us to leave because he thought it would cause more problems if we left rather than stayed.
I think that was, we could cause immediate problems for him with the current situation, but once that current situation is resolved, he wants us to get the fuck out. Is probably where that came. Like, he's like, leave. And you're like, oh, but there's also this army coming and we want to talk to them. And he's like, okay, you're staying here.
But once they're gone, then you leave.
Like that was the idea with that kind of, like, how that shift happened.
Yeah. That sounds accurate. That sounds accurate.
I mean, unfortunately, like, it is one of those things where it's up to your interpretation, because he wasn't exactly... Like, the one thing he said that was blunt was, if I let you help, as you have asked, because a lot of you had said, let us help deal with the army, you're going to be an obstacle to what I need to accomplish, so I cannot let you help.
Because he probably wants to go.
And it
against
wasn't
you.
now you're staying here. His words had been, I see now that you have no intention of leaving, and I can't let you become involved, so I'm going to sequester you.
Alright.
More or less.
Okay.
So it was more, he wanted you to leave, he knew you weren't going to because something you want was here, and he didn't want you getting in the way.
So, long story short, the point I'm trying to make is, while some of his decisions might be questionable, he's done everything, he's done exactly what he said he's going to do at every point. Calling trust into question might not be the most productive line of thinking.
I don't trust him.
We've had bad experience with undead. They're not usually good.
I'm aware. I was there for part of that, at least.
What do we think the glowing stones are?
Glowing stones, you mean the frost pillar?
That's a glowing stone. They're glowing stones, plural.
Okay. Could you clarify on that? Like, out of character,
really.
I know what you're talking about. In character, everything you said was to a frog in frog. Or to a rat in rat.
I believe in out of character. I believe he did mention that the rat told him about 3 different stones in 3 different locations, and he mentioned the locations as they were said to him. Like,
I
one
was
to
not
the
aware
south.
that you were passing that information on.
Neither was I.
I think. No, I think I said that. I think I mentioned that to. I mentioned that they said about him being like a floating skull with eyes, and then I said also that there were like these 3 glowing stones, and like one of them's to the south. I figure that's the frost pillar. One in your man's hut, and one in the water.
I don't know about the one in the water, but Tristan, when we were in the house, I had noticed the prop that I assume is the glowing stone. Could my character have noticed it and sort of seen any glowing bits, or was it?
It was described to you, actually, when I described the contents of the house, that there was this pedestal that had the affect of this bovine skull worked into it, the horns of which looped up to a dome or perhaps a sphere of purple energy.
Okay. Then I would turn to Laraminus on that one. Is that perhaps some focus for scrying or some other spell? Is that perhaps even his phylactery?
Can I make an Arcana check?
Sure.
I use a different die this time. I shouldn't have used a different die.
Was it also an 8?
No, but I did still get a 21 because I rolled a 3 this time.
Nice.
Nailed it.
I mean, clearly it was magic. You didn't ask about it at the time, so I imagine that your character was focusing on the stuff right in front of him, which was people yelling at him, kind of. So, like, you notice it more in passing. There is clearly a magic spell at work there.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, you didn't check it out, so you can't really say with certainty, but you can make any guess you like.
It didn't seem like any scrying focus that I am aware of. It's possible it's some other magical focus. As to if it's a phylactery, I have no idea. I wasn't around. I wasn't aware to see the last one, and that's the only time I've been anywhere close to one that I'm aware of. I don't know
Right.
what they're like. If I got in there and identified it, I could have some better idea, but I don't think I would have that kind of time.
All
And
right,
honestly, if
then,
we were going to do that, it would be easier just to ask.
then I have another question for the group at large. As a comparatively large number of magic items have passed through the hands of this group, usually stayed in the hands of this group, have you ever encountered one that's larger than something you could carry? Or is this likely the work of some spell as opposed to an enchanted object?
To the voice in the sky, I imagine that when I was at the university, there were definitely magical devices that were larger than something that somebody could reasonably carry.
Sorry, I was never really versed in magic items, so and we never had anything large at the times because we had to pick up and go a lot. So-
Larmandus will say, I've seen plenty of larger magical items. In fact, they're almost more common as they are less easily lost. If you have a large device that takes a golem to move, then it's not going to just
Fair
fall
enough.
somewhere and be forgotten under a bed.
I just had never seen one, so I was curious if there was some inherent rule or something that required them to be smaller. Maybe due to the magic it takes. I don't know. I'm rather...
Imagine it takes less magic to make. If you have a larger thing to be working on, you don't need to condense things as much. Which could be, I
Regardless, I don't know
imagine
the
a large
mechanics.
enough size might cause problems. But that would be a question for Nalia.
Where is the point of diminishing returns? At what point am I no longer saving magic?
So, long
That's
story
just a question.
short, we have no idea what the other two stones are.
And now you've lost
It's
Lair
just
because he's doing
conjecture.
calculations.
I mean, if we... I don't know. Yeah, long story short, it's just conjecture on what those things are.
I'm going to summon my familiar.
Okay.
And I'm gonna.
You have some sort of nature spirit you could get to ask? I don't know, maybe she knows something, they,
This
whatever the case may be.
raven, nearly as big as, well, no longer nearly as big as you since you grew yourself a foot taller.
The raven seems affronted by this.
His name was Skiff, I think?
If
Skiff.
If.
Skiff.
I'm gonna pop him off onto the windowsill and telepath to him just to fly north and just look in the water around the place, see if he can find a glowing, if he sees any glowing stones anywhere, and then just report back.
Okay. So he nods at you and takes off. Well, flutter of black feathers out the window. You hear some gasps from the guards around some of the people. Just you can hear boots thumping on the, since everywhere is connected with this boardwalk. You are constantly aware of like the movement of people around you as their boots thump on the wood. And a bit more distantly, you're owl.
In Elven, I assume.
In rat.
In Rat. Oh,
Yeah, do you speak rat?
no.
Saying that,
I was going to recommend Lara Mendes and Yoko. Yoko too.
Good memory. Because she very infrequently shows up. She also needs to be resummoned.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was
She
the
got
last
the...
time I sent her into hell.
You're an asshole.
She failed to report back.
Asshole.
I'm very glad I didn't send my familiar in there.
In
I
any
mean, it
event.
is much easier for me to summon my familiar than it is for you to summon yours.
Yeah, I only have one scroll left, I think, so I'd rather not waste it. And while I'm in there, I don't have to summon her back. She's just kind of chilling off in that pocket dimension or whatever it is when they're poofed. I just try not to get her killed.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to step away to give my cat some insulin. I will be back in about 10 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to pull aside Malachi here in a second.
Alright. So, Raiken, from my understanding, you're hoping to get a, have an opportunity for a one-on-one chat, air quotes, with your brother once he arrives.
Of course.
If you wish, I could try and arrange a, cage match of sorts. In short, I put you and him in a box of stone.
I'm
It
listening.
will let you, get your, alone time, as it were, but we wouldn't really have a way to assist you, and if telepathic bonds set up, we wouldn't really have a way to even tell what's going on. Is this something you would want?
Yes.
And if so, I suggest you save Dimension Door as a, option to leave.
Well, I hope we get a long rest then, because otherwise that's not happening.
Oh yes, that, let me be clear. That's a requirement for this to even be possible. I have no spell slots left. Not one.
I will remind you that you've had a short rest, and last session someone had asked if Leah could scry, and she said she needed to rest first, so has now done that.
Okay.
I think it was Raiken.
Did Raiken... I don't know if Raiken has ever asked to scry.
Okay, then it wasn't Raiken. There was someone asked.
Might have
I
been
think it
Vendar.
may have been.
Probably
Yeah.
Cyrus.
It's like, if not Raiken, then Vendar, but I would have expected it to have been Raiken since you had scried on his brother last time.
I mean, Raiken might have asked for it before, but I do remember that 2 weeks ago, Raiken did not ask anything about scrying.
Alright, all I'm saying is it was something that got asked. If the person who did ask about it feels like they want to ask about it now, it's something that you can do.
I believe the scrying on Tatsuya was Leah's own idea.
Yeah,
First
way
time.
back then, but wait, you mean this time too?
No, only first time.
Yeah, I know the first time it was. I'm just talking about last session.
Yeah.
Vendar, I sent you a message.
But yeah, Raiken will keep talking to Cyrus and be like, that would be most beneficial to have the time without being interrupted to try to get
I can hear people outside. I think Raiken's brother may have arrived.
Oop. Well, that's a pointless discussion then.
Okay.
And, well, might as well keep discussing it in case you're hearing something or someone else.
There's a lot more movement out there, and it sounds like they're armored.
Well,
Well, hold on. Raiken wasn't done.
I'm sorry.
So my guess is one wrong move that he thinks might jeopardize his duty, or even not even a wrong move. Maybe he just decides this is going to jeopardize his duty. I have a feeling he's going to attack all of us.
Oh, yes, I have... When I said a one-on-one, I called it a cage match for a reason. I fully expect there to be a fight while you discuss things.
But that's
I have no doubt there'll be an encounter, but you still seem determined to find the truth to get the truth from the horse's mouth.
Yes, but that's why I'm also saying that you can't just be keeping an eye on Tatsuya's men. We're going to have to keep an eye on Treznor's men. Otherwise, we're going to get stabbed in the back.
Well, I don't think we'll get stabbed in the back. He might jump the gun and deal with Tatsuya before you're finished, but I don't think his men will attack us, or himself, for that matter. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, but I don't think I am.
Alright, Malachi.
Yes.
There you are. So, you wanted to put on the armor and attune it.
Do I have to meditate before something happens?
You have to do some deep thought about this armor.
No.
So, are you not attuning it?
Yeah, we're doing it, but...
That requires meditation.
Or wearing it for an hour, doesn't it?
I mean, the assumption is that you're... Attuning means getting in tune with the energies that it has, which usually requires a form of meditation. That's why practicing with a sword counts, because that's a form of meditation.
Oh, okay. Misunderstanding on my part.
It's okay. So there is at least some meditation going on during this time. You're involved in the conversation, and when you're not involved in the conversation, you're zoning back to the armor as you feel out the energies of Bahamut flowing through it and making it a part of yourself.
Okay.
So, in these moments where you are separating your mind from the room at large, from the conversation that's happening, you've contributed the thoughts that you have regarding Treznor. You come back to the idea of the armor and making it a part of yourself. You feel the history that lies within the armor. You get a sense of the battles that it has fought and the lives that it has protected. Most especially its last bearer, Sir Shagrazir.
And Yukikaze at this time is feeling very honored with receiving all these feelings.
And as you do, you once again feel yourself going to that place between moments, where the rest of the world seems to fall away or be enshrouded in a deep mist. And you once again feel this presence within the mist, this circling strength that comes to you in the form of shadows on the vapors and the sounds of stomping feet. And after a moment of this, a dragonborn steps out of the mist, appearing before you, begins speaking in Draconic, but I will say that as he does so, the looming shadow on the mist still remains out there, circling. And before you, as before, clad in silver, stands Shagrazir. Black scales, scars over his eyes. His left eye. And he smiles warily at you and says, I see you have assembled all the gifts that Bahamut gave unto me.
Real quick, before we continue, you said that there was still a shadow looming in the background,
Yes.
along with Sir Shagrazir in the front.
Yeah, last time this happened, there had been
It
a
was
shadow
just
looming
him.
out. It became Bahamut as he stepped into the mist with you.
Yeah, I remember that. So it's almost like they're both here, but he isn't here fully.
That is a way to look at it, yeah.
Okay. That's what I feel that my character's gonna assume. Okay. Yes, Sir Shagrazir, I have gathered, luckily have gathered all of the pieces that Bahamut bestowed upon me.
You have done well, Yukikaze. I am pleased to say that you are beginning to exemplify the warrior I was in life, and that brings great honor to my memory and to the will of Bahamut. Now then, on to deeper things. Once you have fully committed yourself to this armor, it will be a part of you, and it will change the functions of the other items that you have. They will grow in power. You will be a force. The will of Bahamut made into the blade on this world. Are you ready to assume that responsibility?
Most of us are never ready when we are needed.
True words and well spoken. There is a truth that I must speak to you. And I think that it will not be easily understood. But what lies before you after our discussion is a choice. And what I want you to know, Yukikaze, is that there is not a right or wrong answer to this choice. There is only the choice. But it will define the type of hero you are to this world. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Beyond the mist awaits our Lord. He is going to awaken the final point of the pendant I created. He is also going to give you a charge as his champion, and you must determine if you will accept that charge. Difficulty, truly, is that question. It is a question I myself had to answer. Choose what kind of champion I would be, which of Bahamut's ideals I would exemplify. I will not guide you. I can only tell you what your choices are going to be so that you are better prepared to make them. Is that agreeable?
Can't ask for more.
Then, what you must know is that in my time as a champion of Bahamut, I was an exemplar of his will in all things regarding the protection of the weak and the casting down of the tyrannical. I fought the will of Tiamat where it reared its head. But I did not destroy the children of Tiamat. Doing so would have led to great suffering in this world. That is my belief. That is the choice I made. I chose to put them into this slumber from which they were awakened, and now they again threaten the world. When you speak to Bahamut, it is likely that he will command you to destroy them.
As he did for you?
As he did for me. I am not here to tell you that mine was the right choice, only that it is the choice that I made. And you must make a choice as well. To destroy the children of Tiamat, or to put them into this slumber as I did.
Did Lord Bahamut entertain you asking any questions of what would happen
You have seen the result of my choice. The children remained a threat to the world, and finally they were awakened again, and now they are causing destruction. And you and your friends are the only ones who can stop it. But you must choose if you will repeat the cycle, put them back to sleep, and risk them awakening again sometime in the future to destroy lives as they are now, or destroy them with finality and ensure that they are never a threat again.
It's not an easy answer.
It is not. And I cannot overstep myself here. Already, Bahamut waits to make his claim upon you. And as I said, there is not a right or wrong answer. There is only your answer. I have given you the information of the choice I made. When Bahamut arrives, he will give you information in the form of a command, and you will need to determine if you are going to obey that command or defy it. The only consolation I can offer you is that defying such an order does not preclude you from being a great champion of Bahamut's will in all other regards.
So, I guess he's waiting, so I will kind of look like I'm collecting myself, straighten up, and then proceed forward.
I offer you one other thing, should you choose to accept it.
What is that?
A boon from me, like the one I gave you before. I can give you one further strength.
Okay. I will. I understand.
Remove your helmet, then.
Well, this is to. So, just from my understanding, this is not saying that I'm going to agree to the command, but stepping forward to answer. Right?
Yes, I understood that. That's why he stopped you and said, I can offer you one more thing.
Okay.
He's basically stopping you and saying, before you go, I can offer you one more thing.
Alright. I'm ready. I'll take off the humble maneuver. Allow him to if he's ordered.
As before, I'm going to mark you. I am not a god, but I can offer some semblance of strength that I think will help you and your friends moving forward. And so, I anoint you in my name, and he reaches out his left hand and places it over your left eye. And you feel this warmth through the palm of his gauntlet. It grows and grows until it sears onto your scales. Until you feel like he might be burning your eye out of its socket.
So I'll be cringing and bearing the pain.
This will allow you to protect yourself and your friends a little better, he says as he pulls his hand back. And you feel the flesh around your eye still burning, twinging, searing with pain.
But I can still see?
You can still see.
That's good.
You won't be able to hide this mark.
I don't believe I should need to hide the mark.
Nor do I. I am sorry that it is not my place to give you better guidance on the choice you must make, but my time in this world is over, and it is time for new heroes to define themselves. I only hope that what small piece of information I gave you will help you make the decision that you are proud of.
Thank you, Sir Sargazir.
He gives you a salute before black-scaled dragon wings spread out behind him, and he shoots up vertically, disappearing into the mist. And the stomping around the edge of this clearing in the fog settles. And a gold-scaled dragonborn with a yellow-breasted bird on his shoulder steps out of the fog and smiles pleasantly at you.
Hold up, just 3 o'clock from my memory. Last time it was a human, wasn't he?
It was.
Okay. Continue.
He looks upon you and smiles and says, Ukikaze, my newest champion. You have done it. You have achieved all of the trials of Bahamut. And he reaches out and taps a claw against your chest, and you see the star rise out of your armor and drift in the air before your face as that flashing white point on the star solidifies and glows brightly. There. It's been a long time since someone was able to fully power this item.
I apologize for interrupting you, Lord Bahamut.
Go ahead.
I found it very interesting that was created by Sir Sequestered, but empowered by you.
Yes, he was one of my greatest champions on this plane and another. He had a good thought to create this, even if his decision for its use was less than ideal, my purpose. However, it now lies with another. It now lies with you. And you can use it to locate the scales that my children created.
As I was told.
With those scales, you can awaken the children of Tiamat and slay them.
Now, may I be so bold to ask, Lord Bahamut, is there anything negative that would come of slaying Tiamat's children? Like, Tiamat being more present in our world because of such an action.
He seems to look sadly down for a moment, and then return his gaze to you, and says, "Only the greatest good can be done by this means. I presume you are not aware of how a god is born or destroyed."
I do not, my lord.
Most of us, gods, we exist. And he kind of draws his hand around him with a kind of searching expression on his face, as everywhere at once. Finding a god's body and destroying it might remove them from a plane or a time, but it does not end them. You must fulfill a very special set of circumstances. Destroy a god, truly. Luckily, my sister has bound herself to a devil, and we can use this as a way to finally defeat her, to free all worlds and realities from her tyranny, to bring my justice everywhere. Do you not think that a worthy goal, champion?
I do, my lord, but the harsh environments that I grew up with and the way that all of us had to coexist in our tribes, there always had to be a balance. And I just worry that the removal of a god, even if it's evil, well, I'm torn, my lord.
Don't be silly, child. If we could remove the evil of Tiamat from the world, that would only improve life for everyone. It's her evil that causes the strife you see around you.
But without strife, it saddens me to say, we don't become greater than we are.
You do have the mind of a warrior. Nature can cause strife and challenge. That does not make it evil. Do you think that the desert was an evil place?
No.
Do you think that if Tiamat did not exist, there would be no desert? What there would be, Yukikaze, was a world with a modicum less of lying, deception, conquest, and tyranny. Mortal concerns. Mortals driven by greed revere Tiamat. Without her influence, what would they revere? Who would give them this avarice that drives them? we can remove this avarice, this greed. They will not seek this power, not seek to control. This is the justice of Bahamut. This is what you are destined to bring about. You awaken the children of my sister and destroy them, completing the long-binding curse, breaking her free of Avernus. And when you defeat her, it will be final. My work will be done. There are things that the gods cannot do. That is why we choose champions. You needn't answer now, Yuki. I have entrusted you as my champion, and I know you will make the right choice. But now you have the power. See my will done.
Pause for a moment, Tristan.
Yes.
With the knowledge of my faith and my teachings as a kid growing up, was there anything specific about why Bahamut wanted his sister dead?
They are diametrically opposed.
It's just they're just polar opposites.
Polar opposites.
So
and
it's just,
she is everything he stands against.
So that's why they just want each other dead, just because of that.
Yes, but Tiamat has, as he has said, done something that has her bound to a demon, according to Bahamut, and this gives you the unique ability
to slay her.
To slay her.
Okay.
Devil. I said devil. I meant devil, not demon.
Okay. It was just because I was gonna ask a question, and it seems like a moot point to ask you if I knew that.
It does seem to you that Bahamut is not really here to argue things. He is simply telling you the way things will be and expects you to make them that way. You get that sense of this air of superiority from him.
Sorry, just one more thing I wanted to ask him. Alright, we can go back. So you just stated that I don't have to answer right away.
He said you don't have to answer right away. I have entrusted you as my champion. I know you will make the right choice.
Lord Bahamut, when I have made my choice, how would you like me to let you know?
Your actions will let me know, of course. You needn't report back to me to say, I know what I'm going to do. I expect you to know what you're going to do. And to do it. You have the opportunity, Sir Yukikaze, to be my greatest champion in the history of this plane. I do not choose my champions lightly, or do I let fate intercede where I can help it. I know you. I know your family, and I know your desire to bring about my will, protect people, bring down tyrants, to thwart the plans of Tiamat. And he takes a half step forward and reaches out a gold-scaled hand, resting it on your shoulder, and you can feel the warmth of his power in your shoulder. He says, make this world in my image. Be my greatest champion ever. Yukikaze.
I am honored. I'm honored, Lord Bahamut. Also, forgive me for if this oversteps my bounds of asking. I know you oversee many planes of existence. One of your one of the companions of Sir Charglazier that currently is watching over your scale seems to be in our plane a undead of some sort.
Indeed.
That's not a problem at all, is it?
Which part? The part where he has misguidedly chosen to follow in the footsteps of my previous champion, or the part where he became an undead?
The undead part.
Why should I care of that?
Okay. I was sorry. I was just curious. It's an interesting situation for me as a mortal.
Is he a tyrant oppressing people? Are there weak people we must protect from him?
I don't believe so.
These are the questions you will ask yourself as you serve my will in this world. This is your guiding principle.
I remember them well.
Go forth, Kaze. Do great things in my name.
I will continue to do what I always do, and thank you for your time and your favor.
He smiles a reptilian smile before fading to mist without seeming to move before you. And as you look about, the mist fades, the world comes back into focus, and you can feel the armor on you moving of its own volition. Going to put us back in there as I describe what happens. Is that alright?
Yeah, say that again? What?
The armor begins to move of its own volition.
Yeah.
Going to then put us back in there because it's going to be something the rest of the party can see happening. So I'll describe it with everybody.
Oh, okay. That's what. Sorry, when you said spec, I didn't quite get that. Oh,
okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right. I'll put us back.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So
as
Vendar gives you the information that he hears armored people moving about the village and is beginning to suspect that Raiken's brother has potentially arrived. You will all be aware that Yukikaze seems to have drifted into a meditative state. And as you watch him for just a moment after this is said, you see him open his eyes and stand, and as he does so, you can hear this metal on metal sliding and clicking as the armor seems to be reshaping itself on his body. And before your very eyes, you see from the platinum-colored armor, platinum dragon wings and a long tail appear.
Okay.
Now those are some wings.
Shut up. What did I do? Besides, fly. Also, I would like to state, now that you're back, I'm giving Raiken the Cloak of Resistance. And I'm getting out the Gravity Gun, I don't remember its actual name, and the House Box.
Did we ever
Okay.
use that thing?
Yes, he
Nope,
did
but I don't-
once use the 0-point energy manipulator.
When? I don't even remember.
You used it to try and stick something into hell.
Oh, yeah! That's right.
So, so I'm gonna stretch and move my new appendages a little bit, and give one good flap too.
All of the small objects and knickknacks around the place go flying off the shelves.
I'm
I have
okay with
no-
that.
And my needle goes out the window and into the swamp.
No, the needle's still in your hand. The shirt goes out the window.
Oh, I'm holding the shirt.
You are still holding a circle, though. A very small circle that seems like it was from the front of the.
Sam,
The shirt.
shut up.
Your niplets.
Your nipple.
The only other thing, no, there's one other thing of note, that as he rises and begins testing this out, you notice that he has a, dark mark over his left eye, that looks like a pair of scars that he did not have moments earlier.
This is him,
This
not,
is Yuki
or the
Kaze.
armor. Okay.
No, this is him. It seems to be
Okay.
on his body. You did not see him cut himself.
Do they appear old scars, or
Are you going to... Hang on, Cyrus. Lara, if you're curious about them, are you actually going to, like, move toward him and examine them? Because they have the
interested in
appearance
that
of
or
old
the-
scars from here, but you might be able to tell more if you were closer.
I think I am.
Okay. Then Yuki Larabendus is kind of like moving up to you and like eyeballing your face through, through the visor of your helmet.
Those are
Yeah.
new.
Yes, they are. We actually, once we get a second, I'm gonna need a bit of everyone's time.
Lara, I'll ask for an investigation roll.
Okay. I'm ostensibly not crap at those. I rolled above a 10 this time.
Oh, nice.
I got an 11. On die, I mean.
Yeah.
My investigation, that is a 19.
Okay. With a 19, as you get close, and he kind of seems a little put off by your proximity, but in spite of his, like, this room is small, and he doesn't really have anywhere to go to get away from you, so you are able to notice...
Perfect.
You are able to notice that these are not, in fact, like, deep gouge scars as they appear from a distance. They appear more like tattoos on his scales, if such a process were possible.
Mhm.
What you notice about them is that they appear to be... your knowledge is very high, and you know Draconic. They appear to be Draconic script, stylized and twisted into the shape of these scars.
Ooh.
But he is moving too much for you to really
Yeah.
read it.
But when he says his thing about he'll need to talk to us shortly, say I have some questions. Although perhaps there might be time for me to telepathic bond. Hopefully, I'm going to try.
Okay.
So Laramendus stops everything and begins trying to cast telepathic bond virtually.
Okay.
So
you
I don't know if I have 10 minutes in a round.
You
but
begin casting.
He's hoping.
So the rest of you, you are at this time able to begin responding to Vendar's warning that he believes that Tatsuya might be here.
Did I zone out for that, or did I?
Yep, you were definitely zoned out for that.
Okay.
So maybe Vendar, for the benefit of the party, just repeat the line where you said, "I hear things, and I think this is going on."
I hear things, people moving outside. It sounds like they're armored. I think Tatsuya might be here.
What direction?
In the message.
Yeah, I gotta go back to the message. Sounds like they're coming from the south.
Okay, I'm going to telepath to the Raven and just get him just to head south and let me know what he sees.
Alright, Skith does report that he hasn't seen any glowing rocks in his travels north. As he turns south, he does say, from the air, he can see something that seems to be glowing in the swamp that way.
I'd reply, yeah, I think I know what that one is.
But yeah, he hasn't seen anything that he would call glowing so far, other than that.
I have a question for you, Tristan.
Ask away.
Just for my own memory, the house box opens on a timer, correct?
Opens on a timer?
Like, there's some sort of activation, and then we would, like, either place it or toss it, and then it would expand into a house.
Oh, yeah, sure. Correct.
So, I would assume the gravity gun cannot pick up a house.
It has a limit to how much it can pick up. The limit is written in the description.
Alright. So, theoretically, and hopefully not theoretically here in a minute, if the house box were to be held by the gravity gun, and then turned to a house, say over a group of Dragonborn, would the result be bloody pancakes?
Potentially.
Good enough for me.
The box does, the gravity gun does have a like speed at which it can move thing. Is it required to be against a surface, or was the prototype model not restricted that way? So I remember that discussion, but then I remember also discussing about which safety features the prototypes didn't have because they didn't realize that it was a problem until, Steve over there
drop something on someone. Yeah. Let's see.
Steve.
I'm just trying to get rather creative with my non-spell slot fighting, so just trying to have an idea if these things will work or not in the next few minutes.
What you do is you put a bunch of the grenades on the house box.
Do we still have grenades?
So that when the house becomes a house, it throws them around, and so the middle of the army gets housed, and then around that there are just grenades of fireball.
The middle of the army gets housed. The rest of the army gets housed.
I do still have grenades, yes.
Could you share a few?
I was kidding.
What if your
I don't mean for that. I have no spell slots, and I can fly and drop them with a bit more precision than most.
Let's see here. It does just say that the object must remain within 5 feet of at least one solid non-moving surface, but it may be a vertical surface.
Okay, so it did have that safety feature.
The maximum weight capacity was 10,000 pounds. It can be used 5 times a day.
I didn't know there was a... I never even saw the use limit.
A single hold can be maintained for up to 10 minutes. And their action to move the held object up to 30 feet in direction. If you move more than 200 feet, the object is released. Right. So the thing that we talked about was, Sam, was that with the later versions of it, if there was a limiter in there such that if you deactivated it, it had always maintained enough magical connection to the object to let it fall slowly, but this one doesn't.
Right.
So...
They just enter free fall.
That may be the problem. I never add it to my D&D Beyond sheet. It's only on my Roll20 sheet. What's it actually called so I can try and add it if you have it made?
I might have it made. I don't know if I do. It's a 0-point energy manipulator.
Nope. Alright. Well, that would explain why I didn't know the details up to my head. I may never have seen them.
Yeah, I have a document where I keep all that stuff. In any event, so there's that. Yes, you could, raise an object up over a group as long as you had a wall to follow.
Or
otherwise,
tree,
you can,
perhaps.
Or a tree, perhaps. But otherwise, it has to stay about 5 feet off the ground. So, you have been told that perhaps Tatsuya is here. Are you all going to run straight out into what Vendar has told you is a gathering group of sentinels? Are you going to try scrying? Are you going to tunnel out through the floor?
Burst through the ceiling.
Lots of options.
Well,
It's like 6 of them.
Sit and wait and see how it plays out.
I'll say this. Raiken, if you want a chance to try and talk to your brother, we don't have time to wait.
Charge!
But maybe
yeah,
it's not them. Maybe it's more undead or something. I was thinking it was them, but they did say they were. It does sound like they're coming from the south, and Tatsuya was supposed to come from the north.
Hold the charge!
Have I heard anything back from my familiar yet?
It is appropriate that the familiar would have information now. Yes. The familiar does say that the people with the silver seem to be forming up to the south of where you are, and there does appear to be another force moving toward them.
What if they're trying to flank us?
Have I seen Tatsuya myself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to think about it for a second, but yes, you have.
I can, as an action, see through my familiar's eyes and hear what it hears.
Mm-hmm.
For about 6 seconds, apparently.
Okay.
That's
what I'm wondering, because it's 100 feet.
Yeah, as you switch into the familiar, you realize that it is staying, right at the 100-foot mark, which means it's still really far away from what's going on. What you see, Jebel, are that the Sentinels seem to have gotten arms and armor, and are forming a north-south line, preparing to block an approaching small army that seems to be coming in from, the southeast and moving westward toward the pillar, one thing you notice is that as this army approaches, it's far away, you're definitely humanoid. Their bird has good sight, so they do appear to be armored dragonborn, even from this distance. And the other thing you notice is that with every step the army takes, more of them are falling.
I'll pass on that information.
Charge!
Okay, you...
Yeah, with this
Raiken, you
information,
say charge. Describe to me what you are doing.
He is pulling out his axe and turning to the door, and he is kicking the door in. Well, I guess out, technically.
Find out which way okay, so you kick the door out. I was gonna laugh if it opened inward.
I will
He
give
would
3
just-
grenades to Cyrus so that he can use them.
It should open out. External doors that open outwards always bug me.
I think that's...
This door now opens out as it just falls outward.
Yeah, I think most external external doors open outwards.
A lot in the US do, or at least...
It's same here.
We use storm doors, so you'll have 2 doors. One opens out and one opens in.
Yeah, we don't have
Our
that.
doors
But
all open in. I think it's like a safety thing. In case someone tries to break in, you can just, you put your weight against the door, because it's harder to open a door than to.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm used to what's going
This
on.
door, regardless of anything, this door now opens out.
It might not. It
might not have originally, but it does now.
It opens out, but it doesn't
So-
close in.
Raiken shouts, "Charge!" Kicks the door, and you immediately hear an "Ah!" as the wood elf on the other side is flung into the bog water.
Laranda's is just, I guess, no telepathic bond.
I'm sorry.
You got through like a minute and a half of casting it.
Enough of it that everyone just feels very strongly disappointment from Laramenda's for a brief moment as everything is it just dissipates.
And on the boardwalk, a tall, blue-furred furbolg turns back towards you with a sash of silver, running from his right shoulder down across his chest to his belt. And he he frowns as the door gets kicked open, and he says in a slow tone, "Treznor says you're supposed to stay inside."
There is an army approaching from the south, and it's dragonborn.
It's exactly
to be
what
my
you're
brother.
not supposed to get involved in.
No, he said that I could get involved.
Could you listen?
He looks to his friend who is still spluttering in the water. Who says, "No, no." He switches to Elven, and says, "You are to stay here. Treznor will get you once everything has been taken care of."
Raiken doesn't
Is he saying
understand
this in Elven?
Yeah, he said
Has he
it in
said-
Elven.
He said it in Elven.
So then I'll just be like, I have no idea what you just said, and I just pass them.
Raiken's just gonna stare him down and say, "You have very nice hair," which he thinks is bitch in Elven.
Goes beet red.
Love it.
The furball kind of, taps a staff against the wood, still frowning, apologetically, says, "We will use force to keep you here if necessary, but this is what we were told not to let you get involved in."
I can't exactly talk to my brother if once everything is all done. Kind of past that point. So either let us pass, or we'll make you let us pass.
Ugh.
Well, I did warn you.
Ew.
You can roll initiative now.
Don't fail me now,
Why do
dice.
they have to roll well now and not on the knowledge things?
Yeah, that's one of the first times you've rolled so consistently poorly on knowledge.
Oh, you.
Yeah,
son of a
it's because they
bitch.
mattered. But guess what I got for my initiative?
Was it a nat 20?
No.
Oh.
It was a 21. I can only roll, garbage or 21 apparently. No, I've always been rolling 21. I've only rolled 21s today. Nope. Investigation was a 19, sorry.
Well, I got a nat 20 on it, so...
So many 21s today from there.
All with different numbers, too. It was an 8, and then a 3. This one's an 18.
Raiken didn't do too bad, and he's still going to be at the bottom.
That's...
I mean, Jebel got 5.
Yeah, I got a 2
That's
on that.
that's one person. Raiken is going to be towards the bottom
Yeah, so far he's the second lowest.
with a 14.
Bedar, what
happening?
is that?
Did you roll a 1?
I couldn't roll. Got a 12.
A 12.
I'm saying I saw that you got a 17, so I was just assuming that you rolled a 1.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
how do we?
I don't quite have the next perk I get is going to be alert.
It's
What's your dex mod, Yukikaze?
is it Dex mod or the okay? Just a +2.
You're +2, I'm +3, so that means I go before you.
Alright.
Problem solved. Why do I have to go
Iris and
first?
Bendar.
Here's the problem with everyone going before Raiken. Raiken's blocking the door.
Not really. We can grab
Yeah,
you and
I
hold
can shoot a death bolt over your shoulder.
Boof.
Through your legs.
Boof. Boof. Alright, Lair got a...
Which head are you more comfortable with losing?
Leah, what'd you get?
Natural 20.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Leah goes first.
Okay. Vendar, you said you got a 17? Okay, Raiken, what you got?
14.
Yukikaze, what you got?
21.
Okay. Gabble, what you got?
5.
5. Cyrus, what you got?
17.
So many 17. 2 17s. Sorry, I was replacing another number that used to be a 17. Different number, so I saw a lot of 17s at one point. Okay. Fewer than I thought. Leah be first.
Then Lara Mendes.
I don't know, our furball friend might have rolled a 22.
Oh yeah.
You could have gotten a 20 as well.
Guys gotta be getting into fights. There we go. Oh, wait, that's right. I can one more thing. Sorry. There we go.
Whoa, what happened?
I have changed the ambiance. I put a node in there that I can click on that quickly changes the ambiance to whatever I want. So this one changed the lighting and the music.
Neat.
Alright, so, with that, Leah, you are first. You are kind of in the middle of the pack in there. And, the Furbolg is in the doorway, with cover from Raiken.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Oops. I would like to... Oh, God damn it. There. I would like to move there.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and grab a hold of Raiken's arm. And be like... Dad, please, listen. We can't make enemies with the people in the village.
This is the person in the village.
I mean, not a hell of a lot of rules for it, so I think I will try to treat this as a social combat and let you roll some persuasion, you think?
Okay.
It's a good argument, so I'll give you a +2 on it, and I think that'll be more fair than just giving it straight advantage. And Raiken, you can roll to resist with insight.
Terrible.
If she gets... So just so you know ahead of time, if your insight is higher than her persuasion, then you basically can choose to ignore whatever she's saying. If your insight is lower, then her words kind of get through a bit, and you can choose how that affects your mood. But you are going to hear her, and you are going to understand that there is some, if not truth, usefulness to what she's saying. But your actions are still your own. But these could have an effect on, your future actions.
Alright, well, she might beat him.
Okay, so Leah, please tell me
I'd like to do.
your roll.
24.
Yeah.
That hits Raiken.
I would have only been able to match that with an 18. So I only got an 11 on the die, so 17.
17.
11, yeah. 11 on the die wouldn't be able to... Just 11 alone wouldn't be able to beat anything. I could do
so,
that.
When it's your turn, you still get to choose your actions, but know that Leah has pled for you to not go through with this, and her words kind of get through this building rage you have. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. Laramendus, the people outside are clearly prepared to keep you inside this house. Given the way that they are dressed and the weapons they bear, they might have mastery of magic. What would you like to do for your turn?
I think that I am going to cast a spell.
Okay. You are over there. This guy can't see you. Okay. The Furbolg is going to hold out his staff, and you're going to see a dark coil of energy spike off of it and reach out to try and cancel your spell.
Okay. Laramendus will say, "There goes that mage armor." In Elvish.
Yeah, he got a 16 on die.
Yeah. I mean, he spent a third level spell.
Yeah.
So
You canceled the
at
first
least a
level
third level
spell.
He got rid of my. He canceled the mage armor that I was casting.
He said, "There goes that mage armor," and he again looks very apologetic as he had earlier. You kind of see him wince.
Yes.
I do gain a whole 2 points of shield.
I actually did mean to ask about that, because if the spell gets cancelled, do you actually gain the points? Like, I'm not trying to nerf it. I'm asking honestly because I'm not sure.
It says whenever you cast an abjuration spell.
Okay, so
At first level or higher.
Yeah.
So with counterspell, you're casting the spell.
You are casting the spell, and then it's getting cancelled. So I suppose, yeah, that seems reasonable.
I could also see that with the spell interrupted,
Yeah,
you're not able to
actually
weave the
finish
energy back
casting.
into your shield kind of thing.
I think that we'll leave it as an open discussion item, and for now we'll just say, okay, you cast it, so it counts.
Mm-hmm.
They canceled it. I think there's room for argument from both directions here, but I don't want to have that discussion right now.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Talk about that offline.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Yukikaze, Raiken wants to get into a fight. You've got new wings and stuff. This guy seems determined to keep you in here even if he is sorry. What do you want to do?
Fly through the roof. It's one of the 6 options.
4 and 6 options. I'll speak in. I wanna. I still have been in my decision while listening to everything that's going on. With everything that's going on, actually, Yukikaze is gonna kind of look dazed for a minute. Because he just got shiny new stuff. He just talked to his lord. Now Raiken's busting through doors. So, I'm kind of gonna be idle for this turn.
Okay, you can choose to be idle.
Are you gonna take the dodge action, or are you...
No, Yukikaze is just like, wait, what's going on now?
Alright, so you have chosen to be fully unprepared for this.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want him to verbalize what's going on here now?
Maybe I'll say, are we gonna stop Raiken?
Oh, okay.
That's it. Maybe that. That's it. I'm done.
Alright then. After that, it is the elf's turn, who slogs his way back out of the water and creates a physical barrier with his body, drawing a longsword and glaring up at Raiken in his power armor, and saying, in Elfin, we will adhere to Lord Treznor's orders. You will not leave this building until he deems you allowed. And he is going to use a defensive action. Vendar. Vendar is all the way at the back.
Yeah. I'll point my bow at him and prepare an action for if Raiken attacks, then I'll attack too, but...
Okay.
Leaving it up to Raiken.
You prepare the attack action. I would tell you about their cover, but it doesn't matter because you have sharpshooter.
Yep.
Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Which makes it Cyrus' turn.
Did Jibble ever give any indication as to how far away, or whoever it was that spotted them, how far away the troops were?
Yes, he said that he relayed what he saw through the eyes of his bird. So he said that they're pretty far to the southeast, and that they are approaching the line being formed, but you know that they're pretty far by the standards of even 100 feet south of here. They're pretty far away.
Okay.
It's not exact, I don't believe.
So, from my understanding, the bird was around 100 feet away,
Yeah.
and still from the bird, it was pretty
Far
away.
away. The only other
And-
piece of information you had was that as the army was approaching the defensive line, members of the soldiers were falling.
Did he indicate from what side soldiers were falling?
The army side, not the sentinel side.
Okay. Then I'll say... Raiken, these men are just following orders. And I hate to say it, but I don't think you'd even make it in time if you were able to leave this exact second. It's not worth killing men that have dedicated their lives to protecting this scale. And I believe I'm out of time with that.
Yep. Are you taking any actions?
No.
Okay. Then it becomes Raiken's turn. Raiken, you have heard two of your companions try to dissuade you. You did see that the Furball counterspelled your mage, and Blair got pouty about it.
Blair said something in Elvish, but you don't know what he said.
So.
He did not say anything about someone's hair.
Raiken also has questions because the elf did not react the way he thought he would when he supposedly called him a bitch.
Really? Turning beet red and yelling at him in Elvish wasn't what you expected when you called someone a bitch?
I thought he was more embarrassed because he thought he was complimenting him.
Okay.
When you said he turned red, I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, that is what it is now.
Because I figured that he didn't actually, that Laramidas did not actually teach him the word bitch. It was actually fake. Okay. Raiken heard his companion's words. To say the least, he's a little ticked off by them.
Alright.
Especially Cyrus's.
Yep. As I said, your actions are still your own. You can choose to do what you like. All that roll earlier determined was, whether or not the words got through and had any impact at all. So they did have an impact. What that impact is up to you.
So Raiken is not going to attack. However, he is going to try to cast. And he is going to cast a level 2 command.
Okay. You're going to target both of them?
Yes.
Alright, well, Furbolg already used his reaction, and Elf does not seem to counterspell you. What is the command you issue?
The command is... do I want to do...
Just remember, the rules say that it has to be a single word, and it can't be self-injurious.
Yes. I'm trying to decide between two words. I'm going to go with flee.
Wee. Right. The only thing I'm thinking about right now is I don't remember what music I selected, so I hope it's cool battle music.
It sounds like the castle music I used, like the battle music I used in the castle, if you remember that.
Okay.
Well, fortress, but
cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so they have to make a saving throw. Wisdom save, I believe.
Yes.
One of them got an 8. The other one got a 16.
Oh my god. One failed and one succeeded.
Okay.
By
So
the DC.
the elf failed.
I figured it was the elf and the furbolg was the one that made the save.
Yeah, the furbolg made the save, being the higher wisdom save.
Okay. So, well, unfortunately, can't do anything until
their turn.
Um,
But you do see that, like, the elf seems like his facial expression changes from the embarrassment and anger to almost fear. Or perhaps blank, I guess, is probably a better thing to say, since he's now under an enchantment.
Okay, and then Raiken is going to, I guess, turn back around and walk back into the room and basically glare at Cyrus and Leah and basically say that things better go well or there's going to be consequences.
Okay. Anything else for your turn?
Nope.
Okay. The Furbolg is going to cast a spell.
I do not counterspell.
I cannot counterspell.
I can.
Technically
You're
can.
going to.
I can see him.
Technically, you have a line here. Here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to counterspell.
Cover, but you can counterspell.
Yeah, I'm going to counterspell.
Okay, roll it.
Okay.
You roll a d20 and add your charisma modifier, I believe is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah, using yeah. Okay. Yeah,
d20 plus your charisma modifier.
Yes. Charisma modifier is 5, so 16.
16. Okay. His spell sputters. And he sighs and says, "Please, this is for your own good."
I do not wish to fight you, but I don't wish anyone to be harmed.
It wasn't... Jibble, your turn.
That's as far as I could speak.
Mm-hmm.
What was me? Is that me near the door?
Yeah, this is you near the door. Here. Raiken just sort of, like, climbed over you. And is now glaring at Leah and Cyrus. You guys in front of you, what would you like to do?
Oh. What do I want? I'm just going to move to the side, so I don't know what direction I did. South?
So just to the wall, basically. Press
Yep.
yourself against it. Okay, so you just get out of the way, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I just feel like, you know how frustrating it is to be stuck in here when things are going on?
Well, I'm sure it'll be over soon. Alright, anything else, Jeb?
No, that's it.
Back to Leah.
Let me talk this out. What- I don't want any bloodshed.
Okay. Then I will skip through and just say, is anybody going to take a combat action?
No.
Lair or Yuki?
Nope.
Okay. And when it gets to the elf's turn, he's going to see that Yuki has moved away and has resigned himself, and there's people talking at him. He's
Isn't the elf gonna run?
Oh yeah, the elf's turn is he runs. Gets to run away. Stupid menu, go away. Alright, so he runs away. Ender? Combat actions, yes, no?
No, I'll leave him.
Okay. Cyrus, combat actions.
Nope.
Raiken, rat combat actions.
No.
No. Okay. And the Furball is going to say... He's going to move closer to the door. Say... We will fetch you when the job is done. And I am certain that Treznor will keep his word. He's going to close the door. And you're going to hear him casting a spell on the other side of the door.
I'm going to bet that's arcane lock, perhaps? Or, well, I suppose it could be mending.
Bet whatever you
Mending,
want. Okay, so...
Like, that's in character, for the record.
Combat's over. What would you like to do now? Fastest combat ever.
Sorry, guys. That was it's information overload for a minute. I have a lot of them. But did he say he was gonna kill Larkin's barber?
Pretty much. Just if he didn't like the, reasoning, or... So pretty much if there was too much resistance put up.
Well, if I can speak quickly, and hopefully...
Combat's over. You can speak as much as you want.
No, I'm saying speak quickly in the sense that I can speak relatively quickly, and we can make a relatively fast decision. I have some information to disclose. Or stuff from Lord Bahamut that was told to me that I'd like to share, and will probably influence what we do.
Please do.
And do we want to end there? Or do we want me to do?
I don't want you forgetting it between sessions, so I think
will forget.
I'm going to ask Jibble for permission to go a few more minutes to hear this out.
How long?
I don't know. How long?
Call it 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So, do we want to kill a god?
Which one? Tiamat?
Yes.
I don't believe we are currently capable.
Well, to influence this, Lord Bahamut asked me to make a choice. And it's the choice to slay all Tiamat's children and then put in the within doing that also slay Tiamat herself, because there's unique circumstances that will allow us to do so, or we follow what Sir Shagrazier did in the past and seal it. And if we do choose to destroy them, that more than likely means that we're going to have to fight these guys anyways to unseal the dragon to kill it.
Here's my
I vote
question.
kill.
I go with kill too.
Do they have to be awake all at once?
No, but we do have to defeat them. Which still means we're going to have to take the scale from here.
What are the metaphysical implications of deicide?
An interesting topic to discuss. That is what it is.
Also,
So, I don't know the implications of what would be for removing a god.
I also need to know, does this involve fighting her directly, or just slaying the 5? I say just, with the highest amount of sarcasm.
No, this will mean, because of the circumstances Tiamat has been put in, we will be able to fight and kill her. Which would means we're going to be fighting her.
Yeah, let's go kill a god.
I started this journey to kill the Green Dragon. I plan to be successful with this journey, and that means killing the Green Dragon and I guess all the rest of them.
Much more permanent solution.
Yes, but there's always a balance in the world with good and evil. Are you ready to shoulder the burden and the responsibility for completely removing a balancing or a force in this world?
Well, it's an
Second
evil
question. Does killing all the dragons force us to have to confront Tiamat, or could we make that decision then and there?
That I'm not fully sure of, but it would probably be more of the lines, and if we don't take care of the children will probably come to their mother's aid.
Oh, I have no problem with the idea of killing killing those dragons. That is, in fact, that would be my preferred outcome of this.
But
I just would like to know if doing so will force us to confront Tiamat, because I feel we will lose.
I don't know if it'll force us. That is something I do not know.
I imagine,
So
even if
here,
not, our lives would be harried until their very end by her servants.
also here's a tidbit of information. Tiamat has currently made a deal or some kind of bargain or bond with the devil, which has caused this to happen. Which would also mean we could assist Rowan at the same time if he's still with us.
Well, I'm fine with the start of the plan at least, but I still feel like attacking one of the few possible allies we might have in this fight is a bad idea.
Yes, me too.
Sorry, with the
Allies.
with the outbursts of Raiken and the sudden attack or the sudden battle going on, it did slip my mind. Killing the children is part of the ritual to summon her,
Okay, so then that does put you on that path.
Yes. Sorry, meeting both Shagwazir and Lord Bahamut and getting this armor and this going on all at once put me kind of slacko. I'm sorry.
Regardless of which version of the plan we go with, of putting them to sleep or killing them, or just killing most of them, I still feel like making sure that Widemir stays slumbering, for now at least, is our best course of action. Because adding more enemies for us to face seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah, maybe we can kill Widemir right here. Before it can even meet up
Why
with
bother
the others.
when we can at least start with the others, and if we get that far, then come back for Widemir, when he's the only one left?
Widemir isn't here. Widemir's scale is here, far away from
the
Widemir.
scale. Either way, I still feel like it's better off leaving it protected for now.
So that means we gotta stay in the favor of his name starts with a T. Treznor. Until when we're ready to deal with all of that. And also, it's not... I don't want to ignore the fact that Raiken wants to speak to his brother before something happens from Tresnor's actions.
If he wants to go for it, fine. All I ask is that he doesn't kill anyone in the attempt. Well, at least not anyone on this side. Preferably not anyone on the other side, given his intentions.
Right now, Treznor is not making a very good case for himself.
It's not, but if we fight the people in this village, well, then we're going to have to fight everything. We need allies.
Well,
The way I see it, while their methods are horrid, to put it lightly, these people have been standing guard here for generations, protecting the world from the horrors that happened in your homeland, Raiken, from happening in other places. While their methods I do not agree with at all, their goal is just.
yet he's already gone back on part of his word.
Which part? So far, he's done exactly what he said he would.
Except taking down my brother's unit before I even have a chance to speak.
He never said you could speak with him.
Oh, he did.
He
say
said that we were gonna... No, he
Yes,
didn't.
He did.
I listened to the recording just a second ago. He didn't.
He did. I said I wanted to speak to him, and he said that I was supposed to.
Raiken's right.
Alright.
So for all of you, especially Cyrus, who may think he's trustworthy...
I never said that.
Oh, yes, you did.
I never said he was trustworthy. I felt like we might be jumping the gun.
I'm pretty sure we go back to this recording, there'll be trustworthy coming out of your mouth and trust.
Focus. The last minute I'm giving you.
Well, do you want to go charging out there? There's the door. There's the window.
Raiken doesn't have anything left to say. He's gonna go into the corner and,
Well, I do regret
all of them.
that he has gone back on what he said. And wish he had not. There's nothing we can do. Had we left the first second you burst open that door, we never would have made it through this swamp in time.
I would have rather at least tried.
You want a shot? I have a potion of speed that I will hand you over right now, and a potion of vulnerability. I will give you the best shot you can have. But I am not helping you directly.
And with that,
Respond at that point.
we'll pick it up next time. On Everybody Loves Raiken! Or
Cyrus.
Raiken wants to kill everybody. Something like that.
Alright.
Thank you all for joining me. This was an exciting one. I was not sure how this was all going to play out, and I am pleasantly surprised.
Well,
Thank
I
you for
now have a
coming.
theory as to why Tatsuya has been bringing the dragons back.
Raiken's definitely the list is starting to grow for Raiken.
Tatsuya's trying to kill them. He's been tricked.
Possible. It would at least make a bit more sense than anything we've had so far.
Alright. Thank you all for joining me. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Alright.